This is Professor Crumpton. I want to spend a few minutes talking to you about research and your research topic. I want to be specific about sharing the power and significance of research. I believe that this will help you as you continue to work on your research paper. Research is not like any other paper you probably have produced. Research requires a depth of knowledge, and it requires looking beyond just mere facts, looking beyond just data. It requires that you look at what other people have studied about a subject, you get credible information about that, and then you come up with new knowledge about a particular subject. So when you're thinking about your research topic, it's important to be specific. It's also important to make sure that your topic is not a question, for example, that can be answered with a yes no answer, and that it's not a topic that you can just go to the internet and find out a bunch of facts and then try to make that your paper. So the best thing to do is to stop and think about what it is you're really interested in. And once you find what that topic is, then dig deeper. Think about what in particular interests you. For example, if you're interested in child poverty, right? What is it about child poverty that interests you? Is it how child poverty is related to low achievement and grade school? Perhaps you're interested in domestic violence. What is it about domestic violence? Are you interested in the effect that domestic violence has on men in the workplace? Perhaps you're concerned with the effect that it has on women in the workplace. Or perhaps you're concerned about domestic violence and the effect that it has on women's self-esteem. So what you're doing is you're taking an area of interest and you're now looking at that area of interest and saying, you know, I'm really curious. I'm going to look deep into this topic. So as I look deep into the topic, I can do some real thinking here. And I can go beyond problem solving. I'm going to collect some data, but I'm also going to analyze what it is I collect. And I'm going to think about it. That's what it means to reflect. I'm going to think about it, and I'm going to put it all together in a paper that shares new knowledge. Research papers do not have opinions in them. They don't have anecdotal evidence, and they don't have any claims that can't be substantiated. Right? You should never be saying this is what I think. This is, this is what you should be saying this is what I discovered. So no opinions allowed. You must substantiate every claim that you make because research matters. It matters to the body of knowledge, to what it is, the topic that you're studying, and what it is you're trying to find out. Because remember, you're going to do some more than fact finding, right? You're going to go and look at what other people have learned about this topic so that you can create new knowledge. You're actually advancing what is already known about a particular topic. So now it's time to start your search. And when you start searching, you want to first start with who else has looked at this topic. Who else was curious as I am curious about this topic? A good starting place is Wikipedia. Wikipedia gets a bad name, particularly in academia. And that's too bad because although Wikipedia is not necessarily peer-reviewed, some things are, right? And some things may be unsubstantiated claims. It's really a great place to start. And you may give you some ideas about where to go next. So don't just discount Wikipedia, but be careful, don't cite it, right? Because credibility counts. You want to make sure that your research paper is substantiated and that the information that you share other people can find as well. And so you want to look for secondary and primary data. And you're going to always start with secondary data. Who else has looked at this topic? Now, not all secondary data is equally credible. Some secondary data is more credible than others, right? Credible in the sense of, one, they are the secondary data that you find is from people who have been in the field for a long time, right? And it's current. Same thing with primary data. Right? All primary data is not necessarily credible. You want to make sure when you start doing your observations or your surveys or whatever you're doing to collect primary data, that you have a way of making sure that whoever you speak to, whoever you collect data from, that you make sure they're knowledgeable and that their knowledge is current and relevant. because credible sources are the most important thing in your research paper. You must be sharing information that is trustworthy. And the only way to make sure it's trustworthy is to get it from credible sources. And everything should be current, right? You don't want to be sharing old information. That's why we don't use books. We don't use books when we look for research information, because books are not necessarily peer reviewed, and they certainly are less current than journal articles. You now have learned what peer review is, right? That peer review is done by a set of experts in the field, and they're looking to make sure that the sources that we use to advance the knowledge were credible sources and relevant, and that what's being stated is absolutely accurate. That's why you want to start with scholarly articles. Scholarly articles, journals have articles in them that were written by people who are experts in the field, and those articles have been peer reviewed, so you can trust them. You can trust the information you get from them, and you can trust the data that you get from them. Primary research, as I've already mentioned, also must be credible. You want to make sure you ask people who are knowledgeable about your topic. Make sure that the knowledge they have is current knowledge, and make sure that it's relevant to what you're doing and relevant to the field. Because what you're going to do after you collect all of this data, or after you look at the secondary data and the primary data, is you're going to analyze it. You're going to say to yourself, what have I learned from this? So that you can produce findings. And from your findings will come new knowledge and new insights. And that's what you're going to share in your research paper. Not opinions, right? Not anecdotal, but what you have learned and what you think as a result of what you have learned. And you're going to be sure to cite all your sources. You want to give credit where credit is due. So you're going to cite everything, and in this class, APA is the required format. So make sure that you get a good handle on how to cite information. So now that you have a little bit more information about research and a research topic, it's time to get busy. If I've already commented on your topic, and I've commented, I believe, on everyone's topic, it's time to go back now and look and see, is your topic really research worthy? I wish you great success.